staff. Neil Schroeder with the law firm Blakely Klein Smith on behalf of the applicant. With me, Justin Colliers. Like you stated, Mr. Chairman, last year back in June, this is a warehouse project on Alfoxy Way. And just for clarification, it's next to the FedEx. This was the old driving range, 303. We've been at this project, with town staff. It probably goes back to before my time. I think it was like 2023. We were here. We had some homework, came back, and we were last year back in June. And we've been working with PRC, dealing with comments from town consultants, Bruce Peters, and other town staff. So we've taken a lot of those comments, addressed them in site plan. I'm going to have Justin go through briefly just a couple of changes, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
before we're done. But I guess the primary thing tonight, which I've expressed at PRC, is for tonight, we understand, we're here for, this is our second meeting, it's a public hearing. One of the things that we hope we can make you all feel comfortable tonight is we received comments from AKRF, from Bruce Peters, but I think none of those comments are things that we believe are insurmountable to get to this, to a point where we can make you happy. But one of the things that's significant for us is, you may have heard this, but the DEC wetlands regulations change on January 1st. And that's a big problem for us, and it's actually a problem for other applicants that I have otherwhere in the Hudson Valley, where we're trying to get a negative declaration on the project so that we can be kind of like grandfathered into the regulations that we've been working with since we came before this site plan. I guess it started with you guys in 2022, before in 2023. So it's been a couple of years. Thousands and thousands of dollars and times have been spent on the wetlands regulations that we've been utilizing to date. That's all going to change come January 1. So hopefully tonight, what we're asking for is not for preliminary approval. We're not even asking for final, just a negative declaration. And the nice thing about that is what I would suggest to you all, and hopefully it's a reasonable request, is if we can't satisfy Bruce Peters, if we can't satisfy AKRF, well, guess what? We're going to come back for preliminary, can't satisfy it. You can rescind that neg deck. It's like almost like a no harm, to borrow a basketball analogy, no harm, no foul with respect to that issue. But it does for us save significant, we're talking not just small amount of change here. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars to comply with the new DEC regulations, which are going to change in terms of what wetlands classifications are, buffers. It changes everything. So again, we've been at this for a while, and we'd like to, at a minimum, get that with the understanding that if we can't satisfy you and satisfy the comments of the town, we can rescind that, and you're not going to hear any argument from this side of the table as to that. I'm on record of saying that, but it does help us get under the current regulations as opposed to having to redesign this whole thing come January. So again, that's the ask of the applicant and myself tonight. Hopefully it's a reasonable request. So without further ado, I'm going to turn over to Justin just to go over the site plan in case you have any questions, and hopefully we can have that discussion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was loud enough. My apologies. My wife tells me I'm loud enough, so.
Can you repeat what you just said?
Yeah.
We have two systems going, just
Good, thank you.
Everybody hear me if I'm up here?
You want to take the mic?
Okay, thanks. So, thanks, Lino. As far as the design goes, not a whole lot has changed. What we've been doing mostly is, like Lino said, some more homework, some more research, some more due diligence to address a lot of Bruce's comments and concerns. The biggest one, the main two hot ticket items, I'll say, are the culverts. So the first culvert exists under Alfoxy Way. So that's one of the things we've been going back and forth with the DME for a while. It's off our property. It's not our responsibility. We're not adding to it. It's upstream. So the water is coming from that location onto our site, right? So one of the things that we've been kind of butting heads a little bit on is, and through our research and through our design, we've determined that that is undersized. Okay, so we designed our pipe to contain the flow that gets through the pipes, as well as the flow that would come through if it was sized correctly. Meaning if this ever overtopped and a flood came and it was more than the pipes can hold, we've accounted for that as well, right? Just recently, just this last week, due to time, costs, all the factors involved, the applicants finally just said, you know what, we'll replace it. We're not going to argue anymore. We'll reach out to Fed. So the other thing that's important to note is that Al Foxy Way is a private road within an easement, owned, operated by FedEx. So it's not a town road where you could just come to the town and ask for it. We have to get permission from FedEx.
Yeah, and could I just add to that? So normally, when we have a condition, like a capital condition of like whether it's drainage, if it's a town road, it's routine that the town will ask us to improve the roadway, improve the drainage on the roadway. The request we got from DEME, which is a request to modify the culvert and replace it, the complicating factor, it's not on our property, so we can only control what's on ours. However, we're gonna agree to hopefully reach out to the neighbor, to FedEx, to replace that culvert so we can satisfy DEME as to that issue. But again, it's a little bit of an unusual request because normally it's not a town road, it's not a county road, or it's not something where, we've had this in Gatto, for example, where was it public street versus private, where we're able to do improvements. This is completely private, but we're gonna go out and find that owner, see if we can get their consent to replace it. That way we can satisfy DEME as to their comments. So just wanted to make everyone aware of that.
And on that point, the typical request is that you're exacerbating a condition. You're adding traffic to a road, therefore you have to make it bigger. Maybe I'm in a scenario, I'm bringing more water to this pipe, therefore I have to make that one bigger. In this case, it's what we feel before we get to our property, but we're still gonna do what we can. We've actually sent out certified mail to the physical address. We got the address of the property owner. We sent certified mail to that. Trying to find an email for the person at FedEx is not quite that easy. We're still, actually have someone going to the warehouse to try and find that. We did some additional survey. We were unable to originally get the survey off-site here. We're able to get that. All that information that we got, so we resurveyed these pipes that we thought originally were installed incorrectly. They actually are installed correctly with correct pitch. We verified that, we updated that, we fixed that. The pipe size, location did not change as a result of all of this. All the information we got, we redesigned, we reran the calculations, we put it in a nice new package into the report. It did not affect the size of the pipe at all, so that all still remains. The only thing that we did change slightly is over here, we changed from a dissipator to a scour hole, and to make sure we had enough size and make sure we didn't encroach into the wetlands, we cut back into one of the trailer parking spaces. So we got rid of one of the trailer's parking spaces, built a wall around it, and added in a scour hole there. That's going to slow down the water a little bit as it comes out of the pipes. As far as the balance of the design, not much has changed. We've been going through and continuing as we get this new information to make proofs. The other I'll say hot ticket item was there was concern from the DME of these neighbors downstream. Right. What happens to these guys when the water comes through here? Does it flood? Are we adding to the flooding? Are we making things worse? So through our studies and through our design and through our report, we've shown that we are not making things worse. We're actually inviting a little bit more of that water in that 100-year storm condition onto our property. Okay. The only tweak that we needed to do is we added in a small retaining wall in the back here.
Yeah, and just another, we brought this up at the June meeting, another thing we're going to need from the town board is a water course diversion permit from the town board. I know you're going to go through the comments, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board, but we did get a memo from Brooker earlier today that they're satisfied that the proposed design that we have will demonstrate that any potential significant impact as to that water course diversion has been mitigated with the design that's shown in the plans now. So again, it goes to the point where Brooker's analyzed this, they think our system works, and again, but hopefully we can get at some point Drew's satisfied, and we can get to the town board to get that water course diversion. But none of that happens, again, without the negative declaration from this board. So, again, we're here to answer any questions from you all, the public, but that's pretty much up to date of where we are today. And then I know we've received a bunch of comments, and you will go through them, but that's where we are.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Let me
you.
go through the consultant's reports. Project review has no additional comments. Jane Slavin, November 22nd. She has 9 comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, December 10th. Bruce Peters has 4 comments. Another letter from the Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, December 10th. Bruce Peters, he has 3 comments. A letter from the Bureau of Fire Prevention dated November 25th. They have 6 comments. Booker Engineering, December 11th. His last paragraph pertains to the stream diversion design. This land use application has provided significant information to demonstrate that potential significant impacts with respect to stream diversion design can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that 622 Route 303 site plan be approved for drainage, subject to the above comments, of which there are 14. Thank you. I have a letter from Jason Brenner, New York State DOT, and the town received it December 10th. And there are still 2 items that are open on it yet.
Which we have our.
Number 5.
We have our traffic expert that can speak to those if necessary.
So I
Yeah,
they're gonna have to be addressed, so.
Yep.
We're not gonna change it, so you're just gonna have to address them when it comes back and everything is done. So number 5 and number 10 have to be addressed. And then I have a letter from AKRF dated December 11th. And it's, the first one is, there's quite a few of them here. The first one is basically for the surface waters.
Dated December 11th, 2024.
Correct. Yes, December 11th, 24. The second one is dated November 25th, 24. That's basically planning and traffic.
There's 37 comments received.
37 comments.
37, and then a recommended action.
Okay, thank you. I have a letter from Justin Verrazano, dated November 26, 24. In respect to AKR letter. I have a letter from Collier Engineering dated November 26, 24. I believe it's just, okay. I have another one from Collier Engineering dated December 4th, 24. Do I have anything else?
The remaining letters were from the last meeting before they postponed. It says it on-
The letter's not read it, I'm sorry, I thought they were read it, okay, I'm sorry, thank you. Okay, this is from the, June 12th meeting. Okay, I have a letter from the Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, Jane Slavin, October 17th, 24, she has 8 comments. I have a letter from the Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, October 22nd. Bruce Peters has 4 comments. I have a letter dated October 22nd, 24, from Booker Engineering. And drainage review recommendation, Booker, June 10th, 2024. Review concluded that potential drainage impacts could be mitigated. Booker will review the pending mission and determine if the findings still hold. And they had 19 comments.
Yeah, and I believe, Mr. Chairman, that December 11th memo from Brooker takes care of.
Yeah, but I just wanted to put it in the record.
Got it.
I have a letter, the Bureau of Fire Prevention, Town of Orangetown, October 8th. They have 6 comments. I have a letter from Rockland County Department of Planning, October 17th. They have 27.1 comments. I have a letter from Rockland County Environmental Health dated October 3rd, 24. The 1 comment. I have a letter from Alfred Gaddy, October 8th, 24. Based on the drawing provided, there should not be any gas conflict with the proposed work. Please note that existing facilities must be field verified to ensure accuracy on the drawing provided. All code 753 rules must be followed. I have a letter from AKRF dated September 30th, basically on planning,
Also 37 comments?
also 37 comments. I have a letter from Collier Engineering dated October 4th. I think it's just to address comments from prior consultants. And I have a letter of September 24th, Rockland County Planning Department, comments attached. And that's it. Anything else? No? Okay. Gerard, anything else?
I think we want to say a date for PRC, because it would have been October 9th. It accidentally, it was a typo. It said it was in June, but the PRC meeting was October 9th for that one.
Okay. Just a date, okay, no problem. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Can we hear from AKRF first?
Okay, we can, yes, please.
Okay. So, in our first memo, traffic was taken care of, all the visual analysis. And then, at the PRC meeting, we were asked to look at threatened and endangered species or natural resources, which includes surface water as well, and then the stream diversion our engineers were asked to look at. So there were comments about surface waters and if a U.S. Army Corps permit might be needed. Wetlands, our experts asked for you guys to look at the changes to the water quality and the hydraulic balance coming in. Sorry, I'm not a wetlands expert, so a little over my head here. But threatened and endangered species, I know something that was flagged was, previously the only thing that was looked at was the monarch butterfly, but now the tricolored bat and the northern bat are also on the list. But that can be taken care of with provisions of when tree clearing would happen on the property, so that's not too big of a concern. And then the stream diversion, there were issues with the hydraulic analysis. It looked like things were reviewed in sections rather than as a whole, according to our person. So he wasn't sure if the impact was truly being looked at the wetlands for what was coming onto, what was being released into the wetlands. Those were the main concerns. We had said that generally we think that these things can be overcome, but when going through the EAF Part 2 later, there's a couple of there are a couple of sections where we're unsure, we need to click if there's a small or a moderate to large impact, and we weren't sure that we had enough information to make those decisions in terms of surface waters and wetlands and threatens and endangered species. So those were the three things that kind of came up from AKRF. But it sounds like Brooker also took a look,
Correct.
so.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Andy, questions, comments?
Yeah. Can you refresh my memory about why you asked for the continuance the last time? I don't remember what happened and why you asked for that.
Because the plans were undersized.
And has that,
Yeah, and then there's also Bruce's comments too, right?
Yeah, we were hoping to get more of Bruce's comments addressed.
so has any of that been taken care of? But
Yes, we definitely addressed, we're chipping away at them, I'll say.
Yeah, and one of the last issues with that was the culvert, and, you know, we had the stream diversion, which Brooker has opined they believe works. And the other issue was the culvert, where we had a discussion back and forth at PRC, that it was on private property, but we sent in a letter to DEME and the town to say, look, we're gonna do whatever we can to get the approval from the private property owner to replace that culvert.
Yeah.
Right.
The other big thing is that we were able to get the survey
Right.
of the property to the north. That's where we were trying to, our surveyors were being blocked access from that property owner for a while. We got lucky and were able to get that information, and then that allowed us to complete kind of some of the missing pieces that Bruce was looking for, because he kept saying, you're not showing me what's next down the line. How can you be so sure that this is gonna happen?
Right.
So now that we have that information, we have a full study that starts at Alfoxy Culvert, and we ran the analysis all the way through our pipe, all the way through the neighbors, to prove that out.
So then you asked for a continuance to take care of what you're talking about now.
Yeah,
How much has that been taken care of?
most of it, I would say, yeah.
But not all of it.
The only thing that we kind of, I think, will say is not completed is the agreement to rebuild that other pipe. And that, like I said, that's now, in our minds, has been settled.
So the last meeting was in October, right?
No.
I think, or no, when was,
PRC was November,
when was,
a couple weeks.
in June?
Yeah,
When
last
you
meeting,
asked for
I'm
the
sorry,
continuance,
I'm
was in
sorry,
June.
I'm sorry, yeah.
we were supposed to be in October, but then, you know, in discussing with staff, it just didn't make sense to come because we had some homework to do with addressing DEME comments and the
So-
survey.
Where I'm going with this is that FedEx owns the pipe that goes under the road, because it's their road, right?
Correct.
So back in June, you knew you had to talk to FedEx,
Not the culvert issue.
or you didn't have?
No,
to-
we didn't have that back then. That wasn't, the culvert issue came up at was it the November meeting, October?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't, yeah, it was the last,
I mean, you,
Yeah.
yeah, but the.
explaining why you asked for the continuance, you said you had to talk to the owner of the,
Right, but we never contemplated replacing that culvert, I know, because again, it was on private property, when I made a kind of an issue about it at the last PRC meeting, where it's, you know, we can control what's on our property, and we can help improve what's, you know, town property, town right-of-way, municipal right-of-way, and do improvements, but it was kind of unusual to have a request to do work on property that we don't own for a land use approval, so, but we took that into consideration, we said, let's just try and see if we can get it done, and that's.
but there are other applicants that we've had who had to widen roads, they don't own the road.
But those are town roads,
Yeah.
town roads, this is
not-
private.
This is not town.
No, we had New York State Road that was involved.
Yeah, but it's still municipal.
State.
It's not
But-
private, right?
Here's my point. You know you have to talk to the owner, FedEx, of those pipes. Now it comes into a bigger play, and you still haven't talked to them. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's not that we
But
didn't
what
want,
I'm saying is that you want us to okay something where you haven't even talked to anybody.
we're not asking you to, okay, for preliminary, we're not asking for preliminary, we're just asking for, because under the regs of the DEC, if we have a neg deck for a type 1 project, we would be under the prior regulations on the DEC, and not subject to we're not asking for preliminary approval. That's, and I think I hopefully made that clear when we started that.
Right.
All I'm asking is for the neg deck. To your point, we still have to get approval from your board for preliminary. We have to go to ACABOR, I don't think we need any variances, correct? Or do we need height?
So-
Yeah, for height, so let's go.
So let me see.
Gotta go to zoning.
And the zoning, correct. So we have to come back here for final, but preliminary is, we don't have that yet. So we have to come back and address those concerns on the site plan itself.
So you made a comment that if we gave you neg deck and you couldn't get everything, we could withdraw it.
You can, yeah, you have the ability to rescind the neg deck.
Is that, I don't know,
Is that
is
accurate?
that right, Rick?
Well, if
Let me
there's
ask
a
my town
substantial
attorney.
change in the plans, you need to do secret again. It's
Right.
not that you may be done what you previously.
Yeah, so,
So if there's a substantial change in the plans, which there may be,
Correct.
then
yeah,
And-
so
and-
that's probably
that's
a
the,
better way to look
I think that was the thing we wanted to point out about AKRF's letter. I think one of the comments was, well, what if you clarify this and then you find that you need to disturb more wetlands? We don't think we're going to, but if we did, you're still protected in that we have to come back for approval on that. So the neg deck would just be rescinded, it wouldn't.
Okay, so disturbing the wetlands. You made a comment about that, a box or something that you put up in there?
So
That's gonna slow down the water so that your pipe can receive the water that's gonna go through there, is that?
it slows down the flow out of the water.
Okay, so, let me ask you,
This is the disturb. Oh, I'm sorry. The highlighted area is the wetlands disturbance,
right,
this area in here. That's the stream bed, right? So we were careful to keep it to the minimum, because you're allowed a minimum disturbance before you have to do the next level of mitigation.
so it slows down the water going through,
Coming out of it, yeah,
coming out.
yes,
So,
correct.
when you slow down the water, what happens to the water that slows down? Where's that going?
The same spot, just slower. It doesn't,
But doesn't it back up into the wetlands?
no, it exits to the wetlands. So, let me see if I don't want to show you both at the same time. The wetlands start over here. So it's coming out of our pipe, being slowed down. Right now, we're not changing the location that it goes to. This is where this travels to right now. It just goes straight through,
So, oh, wait,
right? That's
so you're telling me the water goes north into the wetlands
correct. Yeah,
from your property?
yeah, this is the stream right here,
So that stream runs north?
correct.
If there was only one river that ran north. Wow,
Yeah, this is,
interesting.
comes through here, runs north, all the way up, and then it's
So
not,
you're slowing the water that's going north that goes into the wetlands?
yes, we're required to.
So when you slow the water going north, what happens to the water that's slowed in the south? Does it back up somewhere? When that water's going through the pipe,
Yeah,
and it's going
You
up,
mean where it goes into the pipe?
where it goes into the pipe, right?
what pipe? Our pipe?
Yeah. So the water's coming,
Into
yeah, so that water is coming through that pipe and going north,
Goes around here,
okay.
right to where it is now.
So that box slows the water.
Yeah, it's not, this isn't a box,
Well,
it's a depression
okay.
with stone, it's like a riprap,
But
yeah.
but it slows the water.
Correct.
So when the water's slowed up there, that means the water that's traveling north, what happens to that water that's slowed down now? Where does that go?
It's gonna still go to the same spot. The water's still traveling the same path, right? We're just bringing it there in a different direction, and then we're allowing it to come out a little bit slower. Now, this will be a depression, so it'll slow the water down. It still goes. If anything gets stuck in there, it's made of riprap stone, so it drains down into that location.
I
So that's,
understand what you're asking. He's asking if it's slowed down and it backs up in the pipe,
Yeah, where's
where it
gonna go?
enters, where's that?
it's designed to not back up into the system, is that what you're saying?
What he's asking for is on the south end of that pipe.
No.
that's
No,
north
down
end.
here.
South end there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The water, since it's slowed down, less is going through than with the stream. What happens with that water there? That's the question.
Down here, on the south.
So
On the
this pipe is sized to be larger and carry more capacity than what's coming through already. So it'll never,
So you're just slowing it.
this'll never back up to here, if that's what, you're saying, will it back up all the way?
Yeah, yeah.
No. So these two pipes, one of the arguments of Bruce is that these two are are too small to bring the 100-year storm, right? So what we've done is we've designed it to not only carry what in reality gets through the most these two pipes can carry, but the additional that would come with that 100-year storm. So not only are we big enough to contain what's coming through, but if this big storm came through, filled these pipes, this backed up, the water overtopped the road, we still have a little channel here that brings it down into the pipe. So it's big enough to handle all of that scenario. So that's where we and Bruce was kind of saying, if it's not big enough, you should replace it. And we're saying, well, that's not ours. I think that to your point of why hasn't that been done before is we've maintained for a while now that we kind of still maintain a position that that's really not ours or our responsibility. That's coming onto our site. So it's not often that you'll hear someone request, oh, someone else built something up the street that doesn't work. Now it's your problem to fix it, right? Because you're not adding to that. That's at the top of the hill, and we're in the middle. We're supposed to take that and make sure it gets down the hill correctly to the correct spot, not any faster than it does right now. So we can't just make a giant pipe and have it flying out there, because to her point, that'll blow out the wetlands. It'll erode the ground. So this protects any additional flow that comes through there. Does that make sense?
How big is the pipe that you're proposing?
60 inches. Walk through it.
16?
6D, 5 feet.
5 feet.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
said there
not.
was no wetlands disturbance, but.
No, there's 0.10 wetlands
Okay.
disturbance, which is the minimum allowable without requiring mitigation,
Okay.
right?
But I heard you say no, so I just wanted to.
No, so it's
clarify.
highlighted. It's actually, the total is actually 0.08. So 0.10 is the threshold. Once you go over, so we actually have 2/100th of a wiggle room in there.
So that stream where it sets now on the property like that.
It goes right through to this. I don't want to open it, I don't want to open,
No, I'm just saying, your building, if that stream would be right on top of that. So you're diverting that.
yes, that's what the diversion
Permits
design and permit is for, is to, instead of having it go from here to here, we're just wrapping it around. So we're not altering well, we're diverting it. We're not saying we're taking this water to a new river or a new stream. It's coming back to the same spot. It's all going where it's going now. We're just wrapping it around to be able to place our building here. So that's what the permit is, yes.
All right. I don't have anything further.
Thank you. Lisa, anything?
Right, but with the building on the property, is there gonna be more runoff going into that pipe than what's currently going into it now? With nothing there, you know?
Sorry, that 60-inch pipe is only to take the water from here and bring it to there. Nothing on the site ties into that pipe. It's completely separate. So I have a whole system of basins and pipes that capture the drainage, but those are all independent, right? So this is all this system here. This drains to here, fills up here, overflows into there. This is all over here, overflows into here. Nothing, I'm not adding in,
Right.
no.
Okay. So that, and then,
It's bothering me.
getting away from the water course diversion, can you answer Jane's question, number 2, about the hours of operation, 24/7, and, are there gonna be trucks operating 24/7?
That's the plan, yes, and we're seeking a variance for
Yeah,
that
you're
from
seeking a
the
variance.
zoning board. And it is our understanding that the FedEx on the same road is also 24/7
Like for
operation.
someone trucks?
Yeah.
Okay, so that you have to go to zoning for?
Yep.
And the height too, I think, right?
Height and 24/7 operations are the two that we're seeking from the ZBA.
Okay. And then I wanted to hear AKRF's questions about the full environmental assessment form that you had, the questions that you had about that. But we can get to that, I guess, after everybody asks questions.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Well, but now you're doing 24/7. The last time you changed it back from 11 to 7, it would be operations at night.
No,
No,
we
it
were
always
always
says-
24/7.
24/7.
You said that.
No,
Mm,
nope,
That's what I have in my notes from you.
well, it was 24/7. We were gonna get a variance for that, because we asked with FedEx.
You mentioned that last time, just to clarify. I have it in my notes on the,
I know, it just had in mind too, because one of the points was we wanted to know what FedEx was doing, because we wanted to have the same hours of operation as FedEx. I know, our ownership was here too, I think they heard that as well.
what size trucks are gonna be coming in and out of there 24/7?
WB 67s, the large ones.
18-wheelers, 75 feet.
Yeah.
FedEx has only vans.
No.
That's not correct.
Yeah, they have
FedEx is
larger.
a full FedEx facility.
Just going back to the FEA dated 3/11/24, a few things in there, going back to the 6/10/24 meeting, we were talking about the 24/7 operation, which you corrected, this 7 to 11 PM to 7 AM, it wouldn't be as proposed. Might have mentioned that you were gonna go check with FedEx, but at that point you changed to 24/7, just for clarification. Go back to the tape, the AKRF, page 5, 6/7/24 letter, you added LUC 156, a high Q parcel of warehouse in addition to the LUC 130. And New York State DOT, 12/10/24, page 1, comment, response form acknowledges LUC 130 and 156 as acceptable. Based upon that 156, do you have a plan for the site that would clarify the LUC situation at this time, or?
We don't have a tenant at this time, no.
Now, regarding landscaping,
Mhm.
you have an east and a west. Okay? But you don't go on the north side. Now, on Birchwood, you have some landscaping up there. Can you show me on that page 15 of 23, it shows there's a residence there, and I think it's 628. It's the one with the trampoline, the pool, is residence
It's like
in
the,
that one.
it's like the middle one, right?
Yes, the other one's wall. Can you show me on the map where it is, because it doesn't, and what the landscaping is?
Landscaping?
You know, the screening, whatever you wanna call it.
Landscape plan east, sheet 15, is that what you're asking?
That's the one.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere up on the, but you don't show the north side any landscaping.
This one or this one?
You talking about the bottom there,
No, we're talking about the
north,
top.
top?
This is all proposed landscaping.
Okay, it's all proposed, okay. Now I'm back on to, I don't think the address is on the other side. It shows it down to the end.
They have the lot number, they don't have the,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, the address.
It goes along those, there's what, three or four houses there.
Yeah, so it's
So
stop,
The last one, forget about, that's, I don't know what that is.
yeah, the proposed landscaping stops here because what you have in this area is existing vegetation. So this kind of gives maybe a better picture here.
Okay, the one with the.
You see the buffer here? This is all,
okay, the
this
one
is all,
with the trampoline in the back.
yeah, so this is all proposed in here.
Oh, okay. The commercial looks like residential.
It's,
It looks like it's, yeah, people living there with kids or something.
Yeah, so if, there's a house, commercial lot,
Right.
house, and years ago, there was a garage built in the back that was house, they ran a business, trucking business.
With the trampoline.
It's all right, I can work and jump at the same time, no?
Okay, so they'll, okay, so it's
Well,
lands-
it's mixed use.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, but you're adding landscape along there,
Sorry, did that get the landscaping question? Did that get you the?
Yeah, that answered
Okay,
it,
okay,
that
good.
answered it.
Okay, now the AKRF letter of 11/25/24, page 3. It states their plans should be updated to show vegetative screening and should be provided prior to secret determination. Their plans are dated 11/24, what do you, what's the revision after that?
Yeah, that was, that was discussed at the PRC and we clarified. I think we had an exhibit put together. They just wanted to make sure that, right, this is that the view,
Plans weren't updated.
that the view shed was updated. And we put together an exhibit, we had the architect put together an exhibit to confirm, that it was updated. And they were,
The plans aren't updated.
the plans don't need to be, they were already updated.
Not updated regarding the AKRF.
Right, because we explained to them and displayed through the use of this that they already were updated, and they were satisfied at the PRC, is my
Yeah,
understanding.
this came after the submission. When we got to PRC, they showed us this, and this was
Okay,
sufficient.
yeah, it's sufficient.
Yep, it shows the additional landscaping now above Foxy and how that would screen the warehouse.
Okay, on, the narrative dated 11/13/24 indicates the mechanicals will be roof mounted. Okay, they're not shown on the plans yet. Correct.
Not, so the architect can speak to that if you'd like, but
Okay, but
it's,
no, they must be shown the plans before you go to Apple, number one.
oh, yeah, that's correct.
Number two, can they be seen from the street, Route 303?
I believe they would be screened, right? Sean?
You have him sign it, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Sean O'Connell from Anderson Design Group.
What is it, Sean? What?
Sean O'Connell.
Thank you. So we actually have a view shed diagram showing this for the site plan, in which I can show you here. So we have our parapet showing here, and then from the streets, we added in a dashed line, which would be the sight line. And they're all going over the parapets at the upward angle, so any sort of mechanical equipment that we do place up there will be screened by the parapets from the street.
Okay. We never got that on the plans, though, the upper part, those are new,
These should be within the submission.
on the plans themselves?
Yeah, I believe so.
On the plans, on the architectural set, yes.
On these site plans?
Architectural plan. There's,
Architectural plans.
it's a separate set of plans.
Okay, the site plans is what we have, I don't have the architectural plans.
She submitted those, didn't
We haven't submitted them in some time, but the last submission that you
Okay,
received,
so they're on the architectural plans.
I want to say either July submission or the September submission would have had the last version of those. Do you have a date on that?
Yeah, I think it was August. Oh, no, it's November 7th.
Oh, November?
You haven't seen that site.
These are dated November 7th, but I believe
they? What's the prior submission date?
0831. 0831 was the,
That's
I
the
believe.
last architectural package, I believe.
Yeah.
Is,
That showed that.
August 31st, yes. Oh, I don't know if it shows that image is what
Oh,
what
that's
he's
what I'm
showing you
talking about,
tonight,
yeah.
but it should have the design information on the plans showing
Yeah.
it.
I'm talking about the visualization.
No, that might be, that's probably a new.
I believe this visualization was not included in that original.
We did see one from 303 heading north, looking
Yeah, that's,
across the light, you know,
That's
by
the-
where
Yeah. there's two.
that,
Right.
we did have that vision, and it showed that everything was below eyesight there, and there was a couple trees, I think, there. Everything was below the vision line.
Yeah, we did two visual studies.
Yeah.
Those
I
were,
remember that.
yeah, one of them we were just talking about, that we clarified. That was a shot of one of those.
Yeah.
So they're all gonna be up on the roof then?
Yes.
parapet's going to
Screened, yes,
screen it.
yeah.
Okay, are there any sound attenuation plans for those mechanicals? Based upon the
I don't believe there need to be.
dB levels, do you know what the levels are?
No, so not necessarily, but in general, whenever you add the rooftop units, they have the sound absorption bases. And also, we have precast concrete walls, which are much better for sound attenuation than any sort of steel fabricated wall.
Now, the equipment, is it gonna be all the way around the top of the building or specifically one area?
No, it's almost certainly just going to be towards this corner over here, which is the side that would have the retail.
Well, that's where the residential homes are, that's why we're worried about the sound out
Yep.
of that area.
And that's why I believe from that angle, the parapet is the highest and covering it the most.
Sean, can you maybe speak to, because that's the office location, right?
Yep.
And so, can you
Yep.
describe like a typical, what we're talking about? Is
Yeah.
what you would typically find in any office building.
Exactly, yeah. And so almost always for these warehouses, you have vast majority of the space used as storage, and then you'll have a small portion anywhere from 2 to 5% maybe that would be dedicated as the office space. And most certainly the office spaces are the ones that need those rooftop mechanical equipment.
So it's not for the whole building, it's just for your office?
Correct.
And it's what you would find on a
Right,
Yep.
yeah. Well,
energy efficient.
okay. When the revised plans are shown, they'll have all of that up there in the heights and everything.
Yep.
I'd get you a can of oil.
Going back to the water course diversion,
Yes.
I'm going, review, regards to Bruce Peters from DEME, December 10th, 24. Page 1, number 2. And Bruce what he writes as far as that goes. The analysis must begin upstream of the 36-inch dual pipes and include the calculations that determine the tributary flows of the 50-year and 100-year design storms. Not just based on the conveyance capacity of the existing dual 36 culvert, which in the case was determined as 214 cubic feet per second, is that it?
Yeah.
CFS. It says, and he says here, the section 4 methodology of the stream diversion hydraulic report states the existing 36-inch culvert pipes do not meet New York State 50-year and 100-year requirements for one freeboard and road overtopping, that this project is not intended to address this deficiency. This is unacceptable on his part.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. So when Mr. Andrews was asking earlier about the water coming there and the flow and the force of the flow,
Mhm.
before even when the stream did carry it, if it was that type of flow or storm,
Mhm.
it would have just gone probably over the banks of that stream bed that was there that conveyed everything. But now we're talking about limiting to a certain specific size pipe. We're talking about a certain slowing of the flow.
Mhm.
We're talking about the backup could overflow onto the roadway, and then the water would be diverted down to other properties.
Right. So, sorry.
Go ahead, no.
So Bruce's comment is about the pipes that pass below Alfoxy. That's what he's saying is unacceptable. That was the argument, right? That those pipes are too small. And we're saying, yeah, we know that, but those aren't our pipes. Right? That was the argument for months now. So we're not responsible to fix those pipes, but what we're going to do is we're going to design our system to take what those pipes allow to come through, and because they're oversized, like he's stating, and like we've brought to his attention, if the road does overtop, we're ready for that also.
Where's the water gonna go that overtops the road? Because there is a curb there.
Yeah, it'll eventually, it'll jump the curb eventually.
But the water
so
that
we
goes,
have-
it doesn't jump the curb, where's that all gonna flow to? It
It'll,
overtops the road.
if, it'll either get to the point where it overtops the curb, or the storm will pass and it'll dissipate and it'll go into the inlets. But that's what we've accounted for already. So the argument wasn't that our design is too small. The argument was that those existing pipes are too small, and who should be fixing them?
I know, it's there, therefore,
So we were originally saying, well, let's call FedEx and have them fix them, if it's that
but
concerning.
therefore it could overtop the road.
It could, but at this point, we're tired of the argument, and we're just gonna fix them. 'Cause
Wore us down, we're gonna try to fix it.
I
We're
know,
not- we
try,
can't-
but then, okay, I read your,
the time and the money lost arguing about it is greater than the cost of doing the repairs.
let me-
The issue is, will they allow us to do it, right? So that's, and to the point earlier, that's why those conversations haven't happened yet, because we've always said, well, that's not ours to fix, right?
We're tasked with addressing the conditions on our property, given, with the existing area that's,
Yeah,
it's not necessarily ours.
You're tasked with your property, and then if you impede or exacerbate something else,
The town
then
right of way,
you're
county or
responsible
state.
to fix that. You're not responsible to go down the street and find what someone else did wrong and fix that for them. But Bruce's opinion is that this, because it's interconnected, in his mind, that this needs to be upgraded. So that's what we're gonna do.
is that in your letter of
That's what my letter was from,
December 4th?
yes.
Yeah.
I think there's a little confusion here. In his comment, 2A, the analysis must begin upstream of the 36-inch dual pipes and include the calculations that determine the tributary flows for 50 or N100-year design storms, not just design based on the conveyance capacity of the existing dual 36-inch culvert, which in this case was determined as 214 CFS. Right. Then he goes on, this is not acceptable. As previously stated, the previous hydraulic report submission determined that 50-year, 100-year flows 192 CFS and 235 CFS respectively. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. So in our initial report, we said, all right, 235 is the 100-year storm. That's what we designed it off of. Somewhere in September, when we were doing a revision, someone noticed, you know what, those 236-inch pipes aren't even going to hold 235. It's actually 214. So for a beat, we changed it to 214. Now, in the final version, the one that we've resubmitted, we said, you know what, that you're right, we shouldn't just account for what gets through the pipes, we should use the 235. So we did use the 235. You'll see that in the final report. I just think it needs to be clarified more.
But has Bruce seen that final?
It is, but it just needs to be clarified because it's pointed out as 235, but it more so says, the engineer wrote they wrote like almost as if it was rounded up, as opposed to saying it's the 235 is because of the analysis that we did upstream before the pipe. So he's thinking that we're starting here when we're starting here. And here is the 235. That's always been the 235. So it's no longer 214. It's 235 now. And you'll see that. And we can I think we just need to clarify it in the report a little better.
Okay.
But you'll,
Obviously, because that's not what he's saying here in his letters December 10th.
yeah, understood. I noticed that as well. Yeah.
Just, one last thing, going back to the AKRF report of 11/25/24, page 9. In the recommended actions, they say, we recommend that the above comments be addressed prior to the determination of significance under secret. I mean, is your point and Bruce's point, you get the latest with AKRF. I'll read the last paragraph in there. Latest letter of December 11th, 2024, on the recommended actions, second paragraph, says, while we believe that it may be feasible for the project to sufficiently address potential environmental impacts and reach a negative declaration. As noted above, there are several items still outstanding. It is our recommendation that these items be addressed prior to consideration of negative declaration. At the December 11th, 2024 meeting, we recommend that the planning board review the EAF Part 2 to focus the remaining secret items to be addressed prior to the determination of significance. So that's all I have to say at this point in time, so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Bruce, anything?
No, I mean, they need a neg deck, and this project, you know, everybody knows something like this was coming along the line when this property was subdivided and when they built FedEx, so. What it is, so, I don't think I have any issue.
I know this board also made a comment when we first, when I first came here, it was back in October it was. Someone made a comment that if you're gonna put a warehouse here, that's the place for it versus any other spot on the road, so just give the location where it is. I don't know if
That's why we had to put the light there.
Right, so
Back when FedEx came.
so again, to your point, that comment was made, and again, we're gonna do, to the point, your point, Ms. L, that HRF, we had the book report too that talked about the storm diversion, so that's one part of what has been addressed. And then we're happy to go through part 2 just now, if the board so chooses, just to go through that, so hopefully we can address some of your concerns, and hopefully get to the negative declaration that we really use.
Anything else, Rob? Okay. Anybody else? Andy, you got anything else? No. Okay. I'm gonna open up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to speak on
Motion to
this?
open public portion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on this project? Okay, one more time. Anybody have any questions or comments on this project? Okay, motion to close public session?
Motion to close public session.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. You wanna let them go through,
I was gonna say, could we maybe, go into a legal session to kind of discuss the options moving forward, or an executive session?
Well, I guess, just very simple. Every to determine tonight, AKRF, I think, has some. If you don't, make that vote. Matters. And to give the applicant the opportunity to discuss them.
Yeah, and I do think we hadn't received Brooker's memo. Yeah, ours was late too, so totally understand, but it does seem to take care of surface water concerns, flooding concerns, and the wetlands concerns. Really, what was left then is the impacts to plants and animals, because there wasn't the tricoloured bat and northern long-eared bat identified on the EAF. But like I said before, that is something that's usually easily mitigatable by,
Tree clearing condition,
condition about when tree clearing would occur.
which we would agree to.
Yeah, so if the board wants, we can run through each one of these. You're gonna bear with me, okay? So, the impacts on land. The proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. Yes, obviously, we have a new development coming in. So the proposed action may, and under that then, the proposed action may involve construction on land where the depth of the water table is less than 3 feet. That's not the case here, so no or small impacts. The proposed action may involve construction on slopes of greater than 15%. That's no or small impacts. The proposed action may involve construction on land where bedrock is exposed or generally within 5 feet of the existing ground surface. No or small impact may occur. And if you guys have any questions, stop me as we go, okay? The proposed action may involve the excavation and removal of more than 1,000 tons of natural material. That is a no or small impact as well. The proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year or in multiple phases. No or small impact. The proposed action may result in increased erosion, whether from physical disturbance or vegetation removal, and that is a no or small impact. And the proposed action is or may be located within a coastal erosion hazard area, and that is no or small impact. Then we get to section 2, which is the impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of, or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site, e.g. cliffs, dunes, minerals, fossils, caves, and that is no. So I won't go through the ones under that. Number 3, impacts on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies, e.g. streams, rivers, or ponds, so yes. Under that, the proposed action may create a new water body. No or small impact may occur because it's a diversion of a current one. B, the proposed action may result in an increase or decrease of over 10% or more than a 10-acre increase or decrease in the surface area of a water body. No. The proposed action may involve dredging more than 100 cubic yards of material from a wetland or water body, a no or small impact. The proposed action may involve construction within or adjoining a freshwater or tidal wetland, or in the beds or banks of any other water body, and that's a no or small impact. The proposed action may create turbidity in a water body, either from upland erosion, runoff, or disturbing bottom sediments. No or small impact based on Brooker's memo. The proposed action may include construction of one or more intakes for withdrawal of water from surface water, no or small impact. The proposed action may include construction of one or more outfalls for discharge of wastewater or surface waters, no or small impacts. The proposed action may cause erosion or otherwise create a source of stormwater discharge that may lead to siltation or other degradation of receiving water bodies, no or small impacts. The proposed action may affect the water quality of any water bodies within or downstream of the site of the proposed action, and that's been changed to no or small impact based off of Brooker's memo. The proposed action may involve the application of pesticides or herbicides in or around a body of water, no or small impacts. The proposed action may require the construction of new or expansion of existing wastewater treatment facilities, no or small impacts. And then the next section is impact on groundwater. The proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have the potential to introduce contaminants to the groundwater or an aquifer, and that is checked yes. But below that, all checked no are the proposed action may require new water supply wells or create additional demand on water supplies from existing water supply wells. That's no or small impact. Water supply demand from the proposed action may exceed safe and sustainable withdrawal capacity rate of the local supply or aquifer, no or small impacts. The proposed action may allow or result in residential uses in areas without water and sewer service, no or small impact. The proposed action may include or require wastewater discharge or groundwater to groundwater, no or small impact. The proposed action may result in the construction of water supply wells in locations where groundwater is or is suspected to be contaminated, no or small impact. The proposed action may require the bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products over groundwater or an aquifer, no or small impact. The proposed action may involve the commercial application of pesticides within 100 feet of potable drinking water or irrigation sources, no or small impacts. Section 5, the impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in development on lands subject to flooding. So yes. However, all of these underneath are checked no or small impact, and those include the proposed action may result in the development in a designated floodway, no or small impact. The proposed action may result in the development within a 100-year floodplain, no or small impact. The proposed action may result in development within a 500-year floodplain, no or small impact. The proposed action may result in or require modification of existing drainage patterns, no or small impact. The proposed action may change floodwater flows that contribute to flooding, no or small impact. If there is a dam located on the site, the proposed action is the dam in need of repair, upgrade, no or small impact.
What's triggering that to say the flooding?
What section was that?
Part 1E2.
Yeah, but what's triggering that?
I don't have it in
Because
front of me.
we're not in a floodway or flood hazard area. What's the flooding on, where's that being generated?
Off the top of my head, I can't.
I think that should be in now.
Oh, yeah, because we're not in the floodway.
Do we have a copy of their EAF anywhere here?
I just submitted one. I submitted one last week, right?
I'm not connected to the internet, unfortunately, or I could pull it up. Ah, thank you. Okay, where were we? Okay, so flooding came from part 1E. E2 is pretty general. There's no more specifics within E2, so there were yeses checked to, the water body, the site contains wetlands or water bodies.
Yeah, that I agree with, but not flooding. There's a whole section that says I, J, K, L. Are we in a floodway? Are we in a 100-year floodplain? Are we in a 500-year floodplain?
Yeah, and
Those
that's
are all no's,
why we had that marked as no underneath all of them.
which almost like is a contradiction, right?
Well, a lot of them are like that.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like that. It seems like it, but, I
Want
mean,
to leave it, or?
Yeah, as long as they're, all the ones beneath there are all
These
checked
are
off
all
no.
no? Okay.
yeah.
So we're okay with that.
Okay.
We won't split hairs on that one right
Yeah.
now, then.
Sure.
Okay. Impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state-regulated air emissions source. That is no. That was section 6. We'll go down to section 7. Impacts on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in a loss of flora or fauna. Yes. The proposed action may cause reduction in population or loss of individuals of any threatened or endangered species as listed by the New York State or federal government. That use of the site or found on, over, or near the site. Oh, sorry, that was so that would be no or small impact, if everybody's okay with that, if, putting the tree clearing
Yep.
on the plans. The proposed action may result in a reduction or degradation of any habitat used by any rare, threatened, or endangered species as listed by the New York State or federal government. No or small impact. The proposed action may cause a reduction in population or loss of individuals of any species or of special concern or conservation need as listed by the New York State or federal government that use the site are found on, over, or near the site. And that has no or small impact. The proposed action may result in a reduction or degradation of any habitat used by any species of special concern and conservation need as listed by New York State or the federal government. No or small impact. The proposed action may diminish the capacity of a registered national natural landmark to support the biological community it was established to protect. No or small impact. The proposed action may result in the removal of or ground disturbance in any portion of a designated significant natural community. No or small impact. The proposed action may substantially interfere with nesting, breeding, foraging, or overwintering habitat for the predominant species that occupy the project site. No or small impact. The proposed action requires the conversion of more than 10 acres of forest, grassland, or any other regionally or locally important habitat. No or small impact. The proposed action, commercial, industrial, recreational projects only, involves use of herbicides or pesticides. No or small impact. And then number 8 is impacts on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. That is no. So we go to section 9, impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and an aesthetic or scenic resource. And that is no. So we skip down to 10. Impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource. This is checked yes because it popped on the EAF, but everything below it because of the SHPO letter of no effect is little or no impact. So The proposed action may wholly or partially occur within or substantially contiguous to any buildings, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Historic Register of Historical Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historical Preservation to be eligible for this listing on the State Register of Historical Places. No or small impact. The proposed action may occur wholly or partially within or substantially contiguous to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Archaeological Site Inventory. No or small impacts. And the proposed action may occur wholly or partially within or substantially contiguous to an archaeological site not included in the New York SHPO inventory. And that's no or small impacts. Section 11 is impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction of an open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan. That is no. So we go to section 12, impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area. That is no. So we move on to section 13, impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. Yes, but under that, no or small impact may occur. The proposed projected traffic increase may exceed capacity of the road network. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may result in the construction of paved parking area for 500 or more vehicles. No. The proposed action will degrade existing transit access. No. The proposed action will degrade existing pedestrian or bicycle accommodations. No. And the proposed action may alter the present pattern of movement of people or goods. It's no or small impact. Then on to section 14, impact on energy. The proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. Yes. It's a new building. The proposed action will require a new or an upgrade to an existing substation. No. The proposed action will require the creation or extension of an energy transmission or supply system to serve more than 50 single or two-family residences or to serve a commercial use or industrial use. No. The proposed action may utilize more than 2,500 megawatt hours per year of electricity. No. And the proposed action may involve heating or cooling of more than 100,000 square feet of building when completed. There is more than that, but it's no or small impact still. Then we're on to number 15, impact on noise, odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase of noise, odors, or outdoor lighting. Yes. The proposed action may produce sound above noise levels established by local regulation. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may result in blasting within 1,500 feet of any residence, hospital, school, licensed daycare center, or nursing home. No or small impact. The proposed action may result in routine odors for more than 1 hour a day. No or small impact. The proposed action may result in light shining onto adjacent properties. No or small impact. And the proposed action may result in lighting creating sky glow brighter than existing area conditions. No or small impact. And then the last one, impact on human health. The proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants. This is checked yes, just because there's the potential use of herbicides and pesticides as pest management on the property. The proposed action is located within 1,500 feet of a school, hospital, licensed daycare center, group home, nursing home, or retirement community. No or small impact may occur. The site of the proposed action is currently undergoing remediation. No or small impact. There is completed emergency spill remediation or completed environmental site remediation on or adjacent to the site of the proposed action. No or small impact. The site of the action is subject to an institutional control limiting the use of the property. No or small impact. The proposed action may affect institutional control measures that were put in place to ensure that the site remains protective of the environment and human health. No or small impact. The proposed action has adequate control measures in place to ensure that future generation treatment and or disposal of hazardous waste will be protective of the environment and human health. The proposed action, that's no or small impact may occur. The proposed action involves construction or modification of a solid waste management facility, no or small impact. The proposed action may result in the unearthing of solid or hazardous waste, no or small impact. The proposed action may result in an increase in the rate of disposal or processing of solid waste, no or small impact. The proposed action may result in excavation or other disturbance within 2,000 feet of a site used for disposal of solid or hazardous waste, no or small impact. And the proposed action may result in the mitigation of explosive gases from a landfill site to adjacent offsite structures, no or small impact. And the proposed action may result in the release of contaminated leachate from the project site, no or small impact. Last two. Number 17, consistency with community plans, and these are the easy ones. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. So that is checked no, because it is consistent. It's worded funny. And then number 18, consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character, and that is checked no, because we believe it is consistent with the existing community character. And that is it.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Annie, any questions? Okay, Lisa, questions?
I just have a question for AKRF then. So you're saying based on Brooker's recent submission, December 11th, majority of your questions have been answered, all except for the endangered species question?
Yep.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I'm looking at Brooker's letter, going back to, just a couple of, just prior to that, DEME's comment number 2, that Director Slavin also brought up, the 192 and 235 CFS. Now, the pipe is 214 CFS, correct? 35 pipe handles?
And those more than that, but it can contain the 235, yes.
Who's to say it's 214?
I know. It just needs to be clarified. If
No,
we had
no,
to,
down here, the Brooker is number 6 on page 2, under stream diversion. Number 6 says the existing Alfoxy Way stream crossing is overtopped during the 100-year storm. So they're saying it does overtop onto the road.
correct. So are we,
Here is proposed a riprap channel to intercept the overflows and convey them into the proposed 60-inch diversion pipe. We request that the engineer determine the extent of the overtopping across Alfoxy Way and to design the channel width, depth, and riprap accordingly. Also review the inlet capacity at the junction box to confirm that it will be adequate to intercept 100-year flow. Now, where is this, this channel going to be put in?
well, it's actually not going to be put in because we're going to upgrade the pipes. The channel is necessary, and that's on the plans because prior to this last PRC meeting and the last week, we weren't agreeing to replace it. But when we replace the pipes, the channel won't be necessary anymore. Right. That's right here.
Mike?
So that is to combat if the road overtopped because those two pipes are too small. When we make sure they're large enough, you won't need the riprap channel anymore.
Okay, because Brooker was saying that the stream crossing is overtopped during the 100-year storm.
It is.
So
So
it confirms-
everybody's saying that.
Okay, so that's what, so we're,
Yeah.
now it's talking about, you're gonna design, the pipe is supposedly gonna handle the amount of water that's supposedly, but there's a curve there. So if it overtops the road, it doesn't mean it's gonna overtop the other curve
Mhm.
to go down to where you're talking about.
Right, but that's the low point. So when it fills, that's where the inlet is. So it's hard to see, but there's an inlet right here. Right. So when the water starts to fill up, that's the low point. When it gets to the point, if it ever crosses over the 6-inch curb, it'll be at that location. And then
It's not gonna flow down further down the road?
no, the channel will take it, if once it overtops that, it'll make its way down to there. It's kind of a moot point because, like I said, that's no longer gonna be part of the design moving forward. We're gonna upgrade those pipes, these two. and then everyone's letter will, the next version
But
of every,
that's proposed, it's not a factual point at this time,
correct,
that
but,
those pipes will be upgraded.
correct. So,
It's either or, it's
to
going
that, to that point, it's either or, either we have to give more detail to Brooker's point on the channel, or we fix the pipes and the channel goes away. But no one's disagreeing that those pipes are too small and that in the 100-year storm, that road would likely overtop. We're all, Bruce, Brooker, Colliers,
We're
everybody's,
talking about how to handle it, okay,
yeah, we're just talking about how to handle it, yeah.
thank you.
Bruce, anything else? Being that we just went through that, should we open it up to the public again? No, just for legalities.
Technically, yes.
Okay. Make a motion to open up to the public?
Motion open public portion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this project? Motion to close the public session?
Motion to close public session.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Can I have a motion for lead agent?
Make the motion?
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? None. Motion for neg deck. I'll pull the board. Andy?
No.
Okay. Lisa?
I think based on Brooker's letter dated December 11th and AKRF's comments that their items are addressed to a point where we could declare a negative deck, I will say yes.
Okay. Mike?
No.
Okay. Bruce?
I don't really see the downside to giving them a deck.
That's your decision, that's your personal opinion.
No, it's not mine, it's what our attorney said.
Based upon what AKRF went over, it's consistent with our past cases that this would be a neg deck.
Downside.
I'm going with Bruce's comments as the town engineer.
On the neg deck, he's commented on the mitigation somewhere. We need Bruce at PRC, he doesn't comment on neg decks. They've asked him.
Well, but he
Right.
never does.
Right, correct, but, we've heard from AKRF in part two, and Brooker, that says that, again, and there's no downside, because if we can't do any of this, we have to come back and do it again anyway, so. And what it does, it saves us a tremendous amount of,
Would have been nice if Brooker had sent this report in earlier, so Bruce could have taken a look at it and commented on it.
Okay, I can comment on that. The individual from Brooker who would normally do the reviews is no longer with Brooker. So the new engineer that took over his work is a little bit backlogged, so he did apologize in his email. But my question would be, Corey, based on Brooker's letter and going through the part two, do you feel that the comments that you had in your memo from this afternoon that was sent over from AKRF have been satisfied then?
I mean, according to Brooker, they feel like they have enough, and they'll be the ones ultimately reviewing it. So, and that was our engineer deferred to in the letter even. So I would say yes, if Brooker is signing off on that. I mean, it did identify in the letter that there were still things that Brooker wanted to see, and they were similar to what we wanted to see. But they felt like they were a little further along and they had enough information, so I won't go against what they would say, I guess. And then to the threatened and endangered species, though, that would be satisfied by that condition of tree clearing.
Okay, thank you.
So it's up to me right now. I'm gonna go along with the neg deck. You have to come back if there's any problem. Bruce, you said you were okay with it, right?
You need 4 votes.
No, I understand that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't really see where the downside is this. If they can't do what if this pipe thing, if they can't come up with the agreement with FedEx, this is probably not gonna happen, Or they're gonna have to completely redesign everything, and Peter's gonna have to sign off on it for it to move forward. I mean, there's really no downside to it.
this board has asked, for example, I was involved in GAT, where Bruce had asked me to go off-site, to go to another jurisdiction to get approval to widen the road, right? We did that, we got a neg deck, the neg deck was already, we had it, right? So we went back, we went to the town, or the village rather, and they said no. So they came back, so the same kind of concept is here, where we're gonna go and ask the neighbor to, well, then the neighbor FedEx, so let's take out what's there now and put a new culvert in larger pipes, and then we'll solve the issue. But we're gonna do that, and if they say no, we're gonna have to come back and do the other way what Brooke is proposing with respect to the stormwater. So, again, it's a big issue for us, Mr. Rendell, and if we can, again, you've heard from AKRF, you've heard from your town attorney, there's no downside to giving us a neg deck, but it helps the applicant tremendously, especially that, you know, we've been at plans that, based on a regulation that is gonna be changing, and we shouldn't have to be penalized for that when we satisfy AKRF's condition. And again, if we can't prove to your satisfaction, we come back for preliminary. When I ask for preliminary approval, I'm not asking for that. I just the neg deck, and that'll allow me to go and hopefully take care of this and go through the next step. So, I mean, we're really asking and almost begging you for that, because there's no downside to that.
If the neg deck is passed and they cannot accomplish what they're trying to do by putting new pipe under the road, is that neg deck now null and void?
They're not gonna get preliminary, so they can't move forward. In order to get preliminary, they're gonna have to change their plan to be acceptable to this board. And when they change their plan substantially, it requires a new secra determination.
So would that,
So you're not locking yourself into granting preliminary. It is a completely separate decision. So you should not be thinking that by granting a neg deck today, you're locking yourself into a preliminary. You're still gonna have an independent decision based upon that.
Right.
And again, just as the legal advisor, we went through pretty thoroughly all the things that you're supposed to consider, and
Right.
just on past practice, on other cases, we would have I think that was sufficient to grant a neg deck. So,
but the question is, if they can't get it and they come back, a change in the road or putting the pipe under would be significant enough to cancel the original neg deck?
Your board's gonna make that call. If it's
yeah, because
substantial,
if you don't grant preliminary, they can't go forward. They're gonna have to get your approval, so they're gonna have to make some changes. And if it's a substantial change,
Have to
secra's gonna have to be
Okay.
redone.
And the negative deck, no way grants preliminary under any
Not,
circumstances?
not at all, no.
So,
They redesign, Brooker has to sign off on it again, and Peters still has to sign.
Correct.
Correct.
Right.
Before it can move any.
so if we give neg deck, they're gonna ask for a continuance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna go.
Yeah, we're not
anywhere.
gonna- no
I don't have
preliminary.
approval. All
No.
it needs is a neg deck, because the board has granted a neg deck without preliminaries in the past, so we gotta come back here and we're gonna ask for a continuance. Again, the neg deck just allows me to be locked into the DC regs that are,
Right.
that's it.
Well, you knew from the onset you weren't going anywhere other than the possible neg deck. Correct.
Correct, and
Yeah.
that's all we wanted tonight.
Well,
Yeah.
they should have grandfathered people in, but that's New York State for you.
There
Yeah.
you go, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
up against, so, and that's why I'm asking and begging you guys to help us out and get us to the new regs.
Well, based upon what the attorney stated, I can,
But you're sure that if we give you neg deck, you're grandfathered in?
Yes, because under the JC regs, it says on a type 1 project, which this is, if I get a neg deck, I'm grandfathered. Again, it's grandfathered just as to the regulations under the Wetlands, Protection Act in New York. I don't have to go under the 2025 regulations, so I'm locked in. It doesn't mean I have preliminary approval, again, it just means as to the wetlands, I'm locked in. So again, when I started this evening by the analogy, there's really no harm, no foul at this point, just granting the neg deck, because we have to come back to preliminary.
all right.
Should we take a vote and rather than?
Andy, I do have the proposed regs here, and it does provide for what Lino is stating.
Thank you.
Based,
I just,
All right, let me pull the board again.
sometimes it just annoys me that when people ask for a continuance, and you know that there's things that have to be done before the next meeting because of that continuance, just, sometimes I get upset with
I understand.
things that don't get done, that should have been done.
And that I totally get, and again, that's why I cited to the Gatto example, because we had a very spirited discussion, if you recall, back and forth, was it a public road, a private road? We spent months on it. The good thing about that application, I didn't have a DC regulation, it's gonna be changing anytime
Right.
soon, so, we said, okay, we went back and forth, we said, you know what, let's just try it, let's go and see if we can get the approval to widen the road. Justin Ridge said, nope, so we had to come back and, go to Plan B. So I understand what you're saying, but it's just a slightly different situation because we're dealing with a private roadway that's not ours, so.
One other question. Does neg deck give them the ability to go before the town board, or they need preliminary before they go?
Need preliminary.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, they can't go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere.
Okay.
They gotta come back.
I gotta come back.
Anyway, you gotta come back
I
to us
gotta come
before
back.
you go anywhere.
You'll see my lovely mug
Yep.
again, so.
And they will not obtain a stream diversion until Bruce Peters.
Correct, to satisfy.
Right.
Town board saying it's okay.
Okay,
Right.
all right. No change to,
Okay, let me pull the board again. Andy,
I'm good with it now.
excuse me?
I'm good with it now.
Okay, so you're saying yes?
Yes.
Lisa, yes?
yes.
Mike, yes? Bruce, yes? And I'm yes. Okay, for the neg deck,
Make that-
okay?
Motion for neg deck?
Second?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Sir,
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You're-
were you
What are you
asking for a
asking?
continuation?
I guess I'll ask for continuation so we can address the concerns,
Okay.
comments.
Please, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
When you come back, have everything done so that we can just move on.
What's the
All
plan?
right, please.
Yeah, thank you all for your
Because,
consideration.
I mean,
and your time.
you're good looking, but you're not that good looking.
And the regular letters and they grant.
Thank you.
Yes, also the email.
All right, next item is,
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
yes,
Merry
you too.
Christmas to you, thank you.
Stack Track and Field Site Plan PB 24-49.
Have a good holiday.
Jane.
He said, I don't start giving these things out like that. I still think, I go with Bruce. Bruce said there, it wasn't right. This
Oh, we're
last
not
minute-
gonna
No, but this last crap from Brooklyn Engineering, last minute.
Well, see, that puts us in the middle. And sometimes
I know.
we have to see who, do we favor somebody a little bit? Please, I want to see you one more time.
Good one.
Approval. No. I thought you and I had a discussion at our luncheon that we were gonna have everything done.
Not really.
We don't have everything done.
I wish we could have. We've made multiple attempts to have a meeting with the. We're too busy and they weren't able to give our ideas anytime. 5 weeks to,
All right, both of you signed in?
I have. Thank you.
I'm already there, yeah.
Yes, sir. Please explain your project.
So I'll just give Justin Farazano again with Colliers. I'll just give an update, but it seems like we're gonna also be seeking a continuation tonight, preferably to February, if that works. The letter from DME still has some comments. I think some of them are kind of what we feel are, project killers in a sense. We've been making our best attempts to meet and discuss those comments. We actually revised, what you received is a revised design that was an attempt at a compromise where it was requested that every bit of stormwater was brought to a above-ground system, even though that's not traditionally how turf fields are installed. It's also not the space that we have. What we did is our best attempt to put above-ground stormwater in any places we could. Right. We did build some walls and some basins. The letter that came in didn't like the walls, didn't like the location, it's too close to the highway. We didn't do a test there, so it's almost like our solution just raised more problems. So, in speaking with Brooker, they still have some comments too. Brooker immediately said, we'd like to sit down and meet. We're gonna do that. Hear out their comments, see what we could address on their end. We have, like Joe mentioned, we've been attempting for the last month to get FaceTime with Bruce to kind of see if we can iron out some kind of middle ground here. You'll see some of the comments are lease more land, make a smaller track, things like that. These guys are already kind of maxed out, right? The track is already undersized. It's not even,
Practice track, right?
it doesn't even qualify as a full-size track, nor is there the potential to get any more land. So we're kind of deadlocked. We're hoping that with the continuation and hopefully the board's assistance, maybe we can get that meeting with DME and find a middle ground here that we can move this forward, because we're kind of stuck at the moment.
Let me go through the consultant's report.
Sure.
Project review has no additional comments.
Was there a Brooker letter today on this?
Yep.
There was, okay.
Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, Jane Slavin, November 25th. She has 6 comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, December 10th. She has... 25 comments. Bureau of Fire Prevention, Town of Orangetown, November 25th, 1 comment. Booker Engineering, December 10th. The applicant has not provided significant information to demonstrate that potential significant impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the track and field site project not be approved for drainage at this time. They have 26 comments.
Yep. I don't have that in here. It came in this afternoon, I think.
I have a letter from, man, am I gonna get beat up on this? I'm sorry.
Shahid Chaudhry.
Thank you very much. The acting permit engineer from the New York State Department of Transportation. Okay, read into the record, okay. So, that's all we have. Okay. Anything else, Rob?
No?
Okay, thank you very much. Andy, questions, comments?
No, not at this time.
Thank you very much. Lisa?
No.
Question? Okay. Mike, question, comments?
Yeah, just a couple. Originally proposed, but underground.
Fully on the ground, yeah.
Okay, where would the underground storage be on the plan?
You can see the large pipe there. That's what's remaining of it.
Can see the color.
So there's kind of a large trunk line here.
Yeah.
And then there's smaller pipes, like, they're called finger drains, that are
Right.
underneath the track. Yeah, and there's a slot drain that runs around them. So they're all kind of designed the same way. There's even a few in Orangetown, if you drive around.
There's a turf field right across the street.
There's a turf field across the
Yeah,
street.
is that the same thing they use for the soccer fields, because they water them?
Yeah,
That same set of drainage? that
yeah,
you
the water
use?
just drains right through them.
Right.
The one you have on the soccer field?
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, OMM has that, I think, in Veterans Memorial.
So that's traditionally how they're constructed. That's how we originally designed it, but there's this,
Okay, and
opinion that it should all be
that's
above
the
ground.
extent of the land. There's no other place on that property where it could be a pond rather than,
No, we have the lease agreement ends here.
uh-huh.
This is the track, this is the long jump, the other
Right.
items.
There is additional property
What's-
owned by the sisters, that was not part of the lease.
Right.
They didn't want to get anything too close to the chapel,
Okay,
is
so that's
down
why
towards
you
that
can't,
end.
that's why you can't use the upper,
Yeah.
left-hand corner.
Right, see the
Yeah.
chapel and on that
Right.
upper. that
Chapel
side.
here.
Nice to let you use that pond.
This, it's filled, yeah. If that was empty, it'd be perfect.
Exactly.
I
So,
think that's one of Bruce's
I mean, Bruce
comments
has a lot of
was, there is
issues, right,
land.
but
he has a lot of issues,
Not ours.
but I think the majority of the technical issues we're fine with, we can address. The biggest issue is that he feels all the stormwater should be in basins above ground.
Right.
So you shouldn't have any pipes under.
even though the
But
track
yeah.
that's across the street that was approved, it's all underground.
Goes
Correct.
off the side.
Yeah.
Correct.
Also,
There's a soccer field, and I believe the
Also,
high
you-
school, I
you
believe the
have,
high school field
Bruce's
as well.
Practice field on the back corner.
right, you have Bruce's comments regarding the pipes coming in from the parking lot.
Yeah, so there's some older pipes that come over here that we're trying to intercept and bring into our system. So right now, there's like a concrete channel that runs here, comes to an inlet. There's a couple yard inlets out here. They all appear to make their way out to the highway.
So you didn't leave them, you're just going to now,
We're gonna bring them into our system so that we hold it back and then we release it slower as part of our design.
What is that building?
This one or this one?
No, that's the church, that was the church, right?
That's a
That's the chapel.
Chapel.
Yes. And that is it's a gymnasium.
gymnasium.
okay.
That's where our volleyball team was renovated for volleyball.
Would you have enough room to turn the field so you'd go put it where the parking lot is, across it that way?
90 degree?
Yes.
I don't believe
No,
so.
no, not that way.
No,
Turn it so,
well, what,
Horizontal instead of vertical.
yeah, what you can't see is, on this is kind of the limit of the line. It's like around
Yeah.
right here.
You suggesting into the parking and remove the parking?
I got my little magic button.
Where you got a laser pointer?
Yeah.
Let me put
Still
on.
gonna be covering the ground.
Good spot where it is.
So you'd have the field running this way.
Yeah, you see, so this parking lot all has to remain
Yeah.
in place.
That has to remain?
Yeah.
It can't be moved. Because if you put the field here and the parking lot here,
This building needs,
the building won't
Oh.
move.
There's already
Yeah,
a-
but the access road onto the property.
No, I understand. Because the way Bruce Peter's talking, he wants more property, he wants this or this. Maybe by turning it and putting it that way, you can resolve a lot of these issues. I don't know. Just a
Yeah.
question.
Doesn't hurt.
it's hard
I
to,
know,
it's hard to say if, that, even if we did do that, if there would then be land left over, what we need. To go from the underground pipes to the above ground, it takes a lot of property.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason they allow it, and a lot of places do it, is,
And if we moving the parking lot, we're still gonna cover permeable ground.
Right.
There's gonna
Yeah.
be some
Well, I'm
sort of.
just saying that maybe by moving the track that way, it would resolve a lot of the issues where you could put up in that top corner underneath the parking lot, put an underground storage if he'd allow you, or,
I mean,
just something maybe you could.
no, I hear what you're saying. I think at the end of the day, we'd find ourselves with the same size track that we have, the same size features, and we would want the same size parking lot. So I think any way you skin the cat, you'd still kind of have only this.
Does not, least.
Oh.
They own that piece where the gymnasium is?
Least.
That's leased also.
Yeah, so we don't own this we don't own it.
Entire approximately 4 acres
Yeah.
is leased.
Have you spoken to the sisters yet about the maintenance agreement?
No.
That-
They're aware, so there's a representative here, he's aware that,
Have to sign
That
it.
they're gonna have to pay for,
that we would have to be working out with them in a separate agreement.
nothing. Oh, that was the other thing, the last meeting, now your property line ends right there, correct?
Not actually a property line.
The lease.
Those are all
The leased-
those are all
the
lease
leased
lines.
property line.
Yeah.
Right next to it, you have Philip Village,
On the other side of the chapel. and
the other
pond.
side of the chapel, so there's a good distance between, okay. And I see you did extend the tree line down it.
Yeah, it's not shown in this rendering, but
Right, but I
yeah,
think in the,
we
your
carried it
landscape
all the
plan,
way down. Yeah.
carried it all the way down. to
Yeah,
the
that
edge.
was a request of the board
Right,
last
yeah,
time.
Yeah, but
Yep.
this way it shields,
Thorpe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Bruce, you have anything?
No, I don't see why they can't do it underground, but, I mean.
No, that's not up to us.
It's not up to us.
They have 2 other fields on the same site that
Doesn't matter.
are already like that, I mean,
But it's
boggles my mind.
It's not up to us.
Let me ask, while we're on, while we're on that, if we can get all these meetings and we find ourselves in the same kind of deadlock here, if we came back with a clean Brooker letter and we still had that outstanding issue with DME, would the board, because I've heard in the past it gets to the point where DME says, well, then the board has to decide, because we just don't agree. Brooker agrees, you agree, I don't
can't
agree.
answer that until we come to that point.
Yeah.
That's not fair to us.
That has happened in the past, though, where
We
you,
have never overridden our town consultants.
I mean, if he came back with a letter like that and told us we would have to help it, then I guess.
We have never.
I've never seen one.
Yeah.
We've never.
So,
okay,
don't put us in that position right now.
Okay.
Until it comes to it. Okay. Okay, anybody else on the board? No. Motion to open up to the public, please?
Motion open, public portion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? One more time, anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, okay. Can I ask for continuation, sir?
We must ask, we would
And
like the
I-
continuation of the project, and we're as
I really
frustrated
hope
as you
this
guys
thing
are.
will get ironed out.
Yep.
Because I think it's a great thing for the kids. And that's all it's about, is the kids.
And there's still no lights or.
No lights, no sound system, no,
It doesn't meet the CA, I understand.
right, none of that. The sisters, there's an in lease agreement with them also, they,
Oh, okay.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
All right.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
thank you all.
How the basketball team's doing, all right?
Okay.
Man had a tough loss.
Felix, a brick addition, site plan, critical environmental area, PB 24-48.
Jeffrey Small. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Did you sign in?
I did.
Okay, very good.
I'm Jeffrey Small. I'm the architect for Brad Felix and Lindsay Oberg. They're the owners of 257 Piermont Avenue in South Nyack. Our project is to build a one-story bedroom addition to an existing two-story single-family dwelling. In addition, we're proposing to enclose half of an existing open porch, covered porch, with a little mudroom. We've received comments from various people involved, and we're happy to comply with all of them. There are a couple of comments from DEME which affect the site plan. The first is that the stabilized construction entrance, he didn't want off of the street, so we're going to put it sort of blocked out here off of the driveway. And the second was we originally had an underground drainage gallery to capture the roof drainage, and he wants it above ground, so he wants a rain garden, basically, which we're showing right here. So that's pretty much it. I don't know if you.
Let's go, I'll go through the consultant
Sure.
report.
Oh, there's
If you have any questions on it, stop me anytime we discuss them.
Okay. One other thing, I think Brooker had a comment about our EAF. There was one answer that he thought we should change from yes to no. Well, I think that if we,
Well,
Well,
go through.
sure,
We'll come up with it.
I'm happy to revise the EAF.
Project review has no additional comments. The Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, Jane Slavin, November 18th. She has comments. The Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, December 10th. Bruce Peters has 13 comments. Bureau of Fire Prevention, Town of Orangetown, November 25th, has 1 comment. And Booker Engineering, December 10th. Drainage review recommendation. Additional supporting information is required in order to demonstrate that potential significant adverse impacts with increased stormwater runoff can be mitigated. We therefore recommended that the Felix, a bridge addition site plan, critical environment area, not be approved for drainage at this time, and he has a total of 9 questions. 9, yeah. We have a letter from Rockland County Health, November 18th, they have 1 comment. Letter from David Grother, November 13th. Pertaining to the state highway system, New York State DOT. I have a letter from, excuse me, Alfred Gaddy, November 21st. Based on the proposed plans, the addition will be in conflict with existing gas service. Please contact O&R's new business department for any disconnects and load increases. All gas facilities must be located prior to construction. All code 753 rules must be followed. I have a letter from Mary Screen. From Nyack, New York. Oh, okay. And I have a letter, okay, a letter from the village of Nyack from Robert Gavlin, dated December 10th. Honestly, didn't date the letter. Another letter from Jeffrey Steelholm, Small Architects.
That's me, it's just the project narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I put in the letter. And I have a short EAF dated, April 15th, 2024. And I have a letter from the village of Nyack dated November 15th. No further correspondence for the site to be sent to this agency. I have another letter from the village of Nyack dated November 15th, and sending to the town of Orangetown Planning Board to serve as lead agent. Anything else? No, that's it. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments?
It's a 447. So I've revised the EAF and submitted it, but I'll revise it again if you think I should comply with Brooker's comment.
I'll review that
Okay,
and let you know.
okay, great. As far as Brooker's other comments, it seemed technical to me, and I think we could.
You're gonna have to satisfy.
Yeah, I think that's no problem. I think, I'm hoping that we could obtain conditional approval without, his final, yeah.
Okay, final question?
Currently, the water that runs in there, what is that, a dry well or something that the water runs?
For the existing house?
Yeah.
No, they're just gutters, splash box in the ground.
Where does the water go? You said it goes into a...
No, so the existing house just has leaders that splash onto the ground.
Oh,
My initial design for the addition
was it dry well?
was, but Bruce recommended that we put it on the surface, basically. Yeah. So we will have to have an underground French drain for the footing drains. So
You're gonna have to discuss him whether
Yeah.
you can use it or not, or whatever. That's his expertise.
he seemed fine, at the PCR meeting, he seemed fine, for the French drain solution. And he was pretty adamant about the rain garden instead of, so.
talked to him,
Okay.
Okay, so half the porch is going for the mudroom.
Yeah.
And the bedroom extension is going over the current porch?
No, it's just, there's a yard area, and there is
It's like a wooden
there's a patio. It's a bluestone patio.
bluestone, then there's a wood one or something next to
There's,
the left.
there's an existing wooden
Right.
deck in the back, which is staying.
Okay, that's staying, what is he putting it over the bluestone?
Yes, that's right.
How is your square footage?
We do have a net increase in impervious area, just because of the relative sizes, but it's not a big net
Right, but
increase.
this bluestone would be impervious area, wouldn't it?
It is. It balances out to, yeah, it basically balances out. Roughly 170, an increase of like 170 square feet or something, yeah. So it's a small increase of impervious area.
Over 400?
Well, the disturbance is over 400.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I think it's a nice project, so.
Yeah.
Motion to open the public.
Motion to open public portion.
Second. All in favor, aye. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Public wish to speak on this? Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any other questions from the board? We really can't go anywhere with this until we get the drainage straight, you know? Booker and Bruce. So, I'm suggesting that you ask for continuation, and what that, I understand.
For a project this small, I mean,
This has got nothing to do with us, I'm sorry.
Brooker says no.
Yeah. But if you talk to him, get this resolved, you could probably get on the next meeting, is what I'm trying to say. That's why the continuation is a good thing. If you're gonna do anything, I understand. It's nice to walk in here and just walk out and you've got your project here all done, but things aren't like that. There are things that have to be resolved. Yeah.
Right, and he may, the applicant may change the drainage design from a dry well to a
Correct, correct.
rain garden.
Or vice versa, whatever, because you gotta get the, I understand.
you know,
what you're saying.
I literally only received Booker's comments right now, like an hour
I
ago.
know.
Right.
We just got
Mr.
them
Smallman,
to
understood, even if they came in last week,
comments
you
and
couldn't
comments.
submit a revised drainage design in timeframe, right? Because everything was already circulated. It would have to be.
Except that,
still-
you know, we submitted the project in April,
I
and
understand.
with the, you know, Bruce feels that we can't do any kind of percolation testing until the spring. So it's gonna literally be a year for a 450 square foot addition before we can get any kind of site plan approval.
We have
I mean,
That's the unfortunate thing about being in critical environmental, you know.
Probably one of the flattest places in South Nyack, too.
okay, but I just feel like the comments are technical, and we're willing to satisfy their technical
Well, we're not
concerns.
technical people, this is all.
Sure. So if, I guess what I'm asking for is conditional approval, so, you know, if we satisfy their conditions,
If you satisfy your condition, 'cause
yeah,
let's just say we were gonna give you conditional approval.
yes.
You would have to come back. For final. We're not, so you would have to come back for final anyway. So basically, what we're saying to you now is, we're giving you, asking you for continuation. You're gonna work it out between Booker and Bruce and get everything else done. The next time you come back, theoretically, you could come back for final, is what I'm trying to say to you. So you're not losing anything, you gain anything. You're not gonna get a decision tonight, because there's too much information that we don't have, that our consultants don't have.
Booker says no. Can't go forward. That's not
They're our engineers.
They have to approve the drainage.
They have to approve that, we have no power over that. We're trying to help you, believe me, that's what I'm saying.
We can, you get
Right.
the drainage okay, we can
The
approve
board- the
everything,
board
and
is
next
correct.
time you can get everything, you can file something.
Right, if you address all the comments and come back, notify them. It's gonna be the same amount of time.
You might be ahead of time, because let's just say we were to give you preliminary, let's just say, okay? Now you have to go on the calendar, there might not be an opening, but being that we're giving you, you're asking for a condition, you go ahead, because the next time you come in, it's gonna be a quick thing. So,
Second meeting
I
in
think
January?
you're doing better this way.
Okay. Do we need to have another public hearing?
Submits it. There's a potential.
There's potential
Come back again for the same thing we did tonight.
Or redesign it.
And at that point, if all the conditions for all the consultants are resolved, you walk out of here with an approval.
But you still couldn't do any work until spring when you do the perk test. Don't get approval from DEM.
Or you can talk to him out of that, that's up to you too. That's between you and him. I understand, believe me, you're not the only one that goes through this, we see it a lot, so I understand what you're saying.
Right. I mean,
It's a nice project, nice little house.
okay.
That was it.
So you're asking for continuation?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. And I wish the best for you, I really do. I hope you get everything done, and that you can, work it out with the other consultants.
Okay.
When you have the perk test done, you must notify DEM 48 hours ahead,
He mentioned that.
because they want to have
Did-
somebody there.
Right, okay. All right.
All right? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Okay.
Yes, just November 13th.
Motion to approve the November 13th minutes as amended. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Adjourn. You say any approval?